has been a minute. This is the Common Sense Party Pod. I'm your host, Dottley. The Common Sense Party's podcast mission is to inform our listeners on topics that affect the everyday person. Rate, review, follow, subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a friend. Again, rate, review, follow, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend that we're available. Please give us 5 stars, give us 4 stars, give us 3 stars, give us 2 stars. You don't give us any stars, I'll just assume I'm doing it properly. We are available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Samsung Podcasts, Pandora, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, and Apple Podcasts. You can contact us at the Common Sense Party Pod at gmail.com. Available on Instagram, Lemonade, Facebook, IG, and TikTok. Yes. If you want to support the podcast, you can do so via Cash App or Zelle. The information is on the About page of our podcast. Again, I'm your host, Dottley. Today's topic is: Are you ready to fight for the country? Just trying to figure it out. So, we're going to get it started. So, a blast from the past. All right, that was the 1983 Automan. I just put that one up because we need to talk about what's going on in what's happening in the I guess the Justice Department. What's going on in the country? As you know, it's February 28th or 20 something, and the country just going. It feels like the country is going from one extreme to another, but we have to at least pay attention because they're trying to break everything at breakneck speed. So here we go. Um, Tax information. So check this out.
According to a new report from the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy, Trump's tax proposals would raise taxes for most Americans while cutting it for the richest 5%. Essentially, for 95% of Americans, taxes are going to go up, and for the richest 5%, taxes are going to go down. Now, I've censored this, but I'm about to show you how much more money you're about to pay per year. The first rung is if you make $0 to about $28,000, you're going to be paying about $800 more in taxes. If you make between $28,000 and $55,000, you'll be paying $1,430 more. If you make between $55,000 and $94,000, you'll be paying $1,530 more per year. If you make between $94,000 and $157,000, you'll be paying $1,790 more per year. If you make between $157,000 to $360,000, you'll be paying about $610 more per year. Now, mind you, 95% of Americans make under $360,000 a year, but we still have these other two brackets. The next 4%, which makes $360,000 to about $1 million a year, and the richest, which makes over $1 million a year. Boom, look at that. If you make between $360,000 and $1 million, you will be paying $7,160 less. But if you make over $1 million a year, you will be paying $36,000 less in taxes per year, while 95% of Americans pay more. And again, on top of all of this, you will be losing Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, education funding, and food stamps. Mind you, this is all in the Republicans' budget plan with trillions of dollars in tax cuts for the ultra wealthy. 202-224-3121. 202-224-3121. Call your congressman today and let them know how you feel.
Yeah, so that's what it is. It's transfer of wealth. That's what they're doing. They're transferring wealth from poorest people to the richest people. So that's why they're trying to break everything at breakneck speed to see if they can do it. So the recently passed, I guess, the reconciliation bill, so they can, I guess, fast track this thing so they can go ahead and scare you into taking money, because that's what's going to happen. $10 trillion in what? No, $11 trillion over 10 years going to add to the deficit, and they're supposed to be the ones who want to be fiscally responsible. They ain't fiscally responsible for nothing. They're just trying to steal. That's what they're trying to do. They are trying to steal, and I do not know why. But again, we have to figure out who's running the country, because Trump is I guess, a lame duck president. If they don't, do anything with con, con, yeah, Constitution, so any president would run for a third term. But one thing I'd understand, I think what would happen. I don't think it will, but say if they go ahead and say Trump kills, I guess, the 12th Amendment or the 22nd Amendment, one of them, and another president, any president who ran before can run a third term. So do you think Obama would run? I think he will. But we need Democrats and independents to ask these kind of questions. Don't be afraid.
Government, if you're a cabinet official, you have to go through these big hearings. A lot of people have to go through background checks. A lot of people have to go through security checks. They get security clearance. What kind of background checks or transparency into the background of Mr. Musk or the people that are working for him has been done? Do you know, Mr. Dubois?
I don't know the background checks. I know President Trump had an electoral mandate to create those.
No, I understand that. But yeah, he has his electoral mandate to hire cabinet officials, but they have to go through hearings and things like that. Mr. Sepp, do you know how these people were vetted?
No.
Mr. Ladwa, do you know how they were vetted?
No.
Ms. Kochelicek, do you know how they were vetted?
We have not looked at these specific individuals.
Ms. Olson, do you know how they were vetted?
No.
What kind of access does Mr. Musk and his team have? What kind of changes have they been making to the computer programs? How many of those changes to computer programs are permanent? And how will that affect people going forward? Mr. Dubois, what's he doing?
I don't know what he's doing.
You don't know.
I
Okay,
think he's
Mr.
looking
Sepp, do you know what he's doing?
No.
Mr. Ladwa, do you know what he's doing?
It would be inappropriate for me for comment on
Ms.
that.
Kochelicek, do you know what he's doing?
We have not looked at that.
Ms. Olson?
No.
Does anybody here know what they're doing? Does anybody know what kind of keystrokes changes they're making and they're permanent? Does anybody know what their backgrounds are? Does anybody know what they're doing with the information that they have and how they're using it? I agree with my colleagues who noted before that Mr. Littlejohn, who disclosed this information, is a criminal and deserves to be in jail, and I'm happy that he's been prosecuted. And anybody who has violated 6103, that takes private data and shares it with other people should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. We in Congress have an obligation as an equal branch of government to monitor what's going on right now. We're all for finding cost efficiencies. I know Mr. Bean, for example, has the DOGE committee. That's a great thing for us to look for efficiencies, to root out waste, fraud, and abuse. But there's a pesky thing, called the United States Constitution, and it has the responsibilities of the United States Congress in the oversight and power of the purse. I yield back, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you.
People who
Yeah, but the thing is, the people in power are scared of what's his name being primary. They're putting their own personal stuff above the country. So I don't understand. I don't understand why, but that's what they're doing. They put party over country, and it is not feasible. So I know I'm scattered around. I'm going scatterbrained for a little bit, but this is one thing. This is one thing I like about the rest of the world. The rest of the world ain't falling for that okie doke. Yeah, they're not falling for that okie doke because they know we've been here before, and they're not falling for the okie doke.
Europe is loaning the money to Ukraine. They get their money back.
No, in fact, to be frank, we paid 60% of the total effort, and it was through, like the US, loans, guarantee, grants, and we provided real money. To be clear, we have 230 billion.
Again, just so you understand, Europe is loaning the money to Ukraine. They get their money back.
No, in fact, to be frank, we paid 60% of the total effort, and it was through, like the US, loans, guarantee, grants, and we provided real money. To be clear, we have 230 billion.
Again, just so you understand, Europe is loaning the money to Ukraine. They get their money back.
No, in fact, to be frank, we paid 60% of the total effort, and it was through, like the US, loans, guarantee, grants, and we provided real money. To be clear, we have 230 billion.
Again, just so you understand, Europe is loaning the money to Ukraine. They get their money back.
No, in fact, to be frank, we paid 60% of the total effort, and it was through, like the US, loans, guarantee, grants, and we provided real money. To be clear.
Yeah, the world is not falling for that okie doke because he is dumb. He is a idiot for a president. What happens when you surround yourself with yes people? You don't see the whole picture, and you try to get your own agenda through, and that's not correct. Definitely not correct. I wish he didn't get elected, but there's one good thing that came out of this. Well, I hopefully a good thing comes out. All those people who think that elections don't count or their voice don't matter, this is what happens when you say you don't matter or it doesn't matter if you vote or not. Because a lot of stuff will be taken away unless you are ready and willing to fight. If you're ready and able to fight, we should fight. But again, democracy is consistency. Are you ready to be consistent? A lot of people aren't ready to be consistent, and democracy takes time. And this is one thing that we gotta understand. Everybody is no longer black against white. It's class warfare, rich against poor.
it is disheartening, and it is terrifying. Many queer and transgender and gender nonconforming Iowans have felt this, and that is while our rights are protected.
This body agreed in 2007 to protect genderqueer individuals like myself under the Iowa Civil Rights Act. Removing these protections is itself a violation of our civil rights, and it won't hold up in court. So what are we doing here? Why are we wasting time?
You gotta understand. You gotta understand how many transgender or the people they are scared of make up that thing. Less than 1%, less than actual 1% of the nation is transgender. And I don't get it. Don't get it. And everybody's fixating on blaming somebody for what's happening instead of trying to figure out how to fix it. And there's an easy way to fix it. We all know what the method is. And these motherfuckers right here, these people right here are the problem. I have people who are in the church in my family, but I have no problem with them. They can do what they want. But when you start doing shit like this, gotta stop.
All right, welcome. I just wanted to say, look, welcome to the end of democracy. We're here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get all the way there on January 6th, but we will endeavor to get rid of it and replace it with this right here. We'll replace it with this right here.
Amen.
Yeah, those people who believe that you can do anything you want from Monday to Saturday, and then on Sunday you just go and you talk to the invisible man and everything is all right. Sorry, those people are the problem. Honestly, that's what's happening right now. Those people are the problem. And we got to get better at this. What are we doing? What are we doing? And we need to, again, stand up for ourselves. Even though those people think in the short term that this is gonna be good for them, it's not, because free speech has consequences.
Senator John McCain's ashamed of you, and so is my friend Katie.
But the thing is, they're not humiliated. They're definitely not. No way in the world are they humiliated, because they're still going to do it. They're still going to do whatever they want. They don't care. They show you that they don't care. And it's sad, because it takes a tragedy for people to learn. 9/11, the housing bubble crash, and they still didn't learn because they're still doing the same thing. And I don't understand why it takes people to that they don't understand that empathy. These people don't have empathy. I've been saying this forever. They do not have empathy for other people. The Republican Party, in my opinion, they don't care about poor people. All they care about is as long as you don't do better than them, and that's all that matters. If it doesn't happen, they don't care. So check this out.
You can protest all you want outside of departments of this government. You can protest all you want, but the American people disagree with you. You're protecting the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy is not a business. Those are not real jobs producing federal revenue. By the way, they're consuming taxpayer dollars. Those jobs are paid for by the American tax people who work real jobs, earn real income, pay federal taxes, and then pay these federal employees. Federal employees do not deserve their jobs. Federal employees do not deserve their paychecks. And these are jobs that can be fired at will.
Okay. Again, these people don't care. And you know what's the crazy part? She is a federal employee, so she doesn't deserve her job. This is why I don't like stupid people, because she is actually. That's why you can't have the people who govern can't be dumber than you, and that's the problem with America. This is not a popularity contest. It definitely not a popularity contest because they are not smart enough to run the country. They want to run the country like a business. This is not a business. Healthcare should be not for profit. Education should be not for profit. Again, they say their catchphrase is abuse, waste, and fraud. But that's what they're doing. They're abusing the federal employees. They're wasting the federal employees' money for tax cut, and they're defrauding the American people. So I don't understand why it has to take a seismic event for these white people to understand that just because somebody tells you something doesn't mean it's true. No, not that one. Sorry. This one.
Again outside Random's Coffee in downtown Belton. Monday morning, a huge crowd showed up to speak with Representative Mark Alford. This was the first time he'd held this kind of town hall style event since Trump took office.
I can't hear her follow up.
The people who made it into the coffee shop were talking over each other, calling Alford names, and booing his answers. Alford stood there for an hour and a half, answering the questions, even if most of his answers toed the Republican talking points, which only antagonized the crowd. The people here live inside and outside Alford's district. They covered everything from Elon Musk to the Ukrainian war, along with immigration and laying off federal employees. Alford told the crowd he feels bad for people who've lost their jobs at places like the IRS, and that God has a plan for them.
You are not a victim, you are a victor. And you will be able to get another job and provide for yourself and your family. I'm confident of that.
We are the hardworking federal employees that make this government run every single day. Yep. And we are being discounted by those in Washington claiming that we're the swamp and we're the fraud, waste, and abuse. No.
Alford's team said it'll look for a larger venue for the next event of this style. They don't have a date on the calendar yet.
I'm Charlie Keegan outside Random's Coffee in downtown Belton. Monday morning, a huge crowd showed up to speak with Representative Mark Alford. This is the first time he'd held this kind of town hall style event since Trump took office.
I can't hear her follow up.
The people who made it into the coffee shop were talking over each other, calling Alford names, and booing his answers. Alford stood there for an hour and a half, answering the questions, even if most of his answers towed the Republican talking points, which only antagonized the crowd. The people here live inside and outside Alford's district. They covered everything from Elon Musk to the Ukrainian war, along with immigration, laying off federal employees. Alford told the crowd he feels bad for people who've lost their jobs at places like the IRS, and that God has a plan for them.
You are not a victim, you are a victor, and you will be able to get another job and provide for yourself and your family. I'm confident of that.
We are the hardworking federal employees that make this government run every single day. Yep. And we are being discounted by those in Washington claiming that we're the swamp and we're the fraud, waste, and abuse. No.
Alford's team said it'll look for a larger venue for the next event of this.
All right. Again, that's what you voted for. You voted for these people to be in office. So you know what you got to do? Got to vote them out. You have to vote them out. You have to do your diligence. And here's another one. Like, it makes no sense that they don't listen, but hey, it is what it is. Some people have to learn the hard way that speak with your voice, speak with your vote.
Republican members of Congress are feeling the heat from their constituents over President Trump and Elon Musk's cuts to the federal workforce.
So we're going to have a town hall. And I'd like to stand in front of you and take your question. But if you're one, just yell at me. That's not going to be a picture town.
While the House was on recess, many of these members of Congress had their first opportunity to hold town halls since the start of the Trump administration. And many of them, even those in some Republican-heavy districts, got an earful from their constituents.
Who's be represented by you if you don't have a voice in Congress?
Are you willing to use your subpoena power to say, Musk, come in here, stand in front of Congress and answer some hard questions?
The executive branch is running Doge, but under our Constitution, only Congress has the power of the purse. Some of their actions have hurt your constituents. Do your job. Do your job.
Civics lesson. Yes, a civics lesson. You notice that all the older people are the ones protesting, not the young people. Because the young people don't know that this will affect them in their future. Because it's understandable they think they're young, they don't think that it'll happen to them, but it affects them too. But like I said, we have to understand that this shit is going to get bad before it gets worse, because they're trying to add 10 trillion, 11 trillion, 11 trillion billion dollars. $11 trillion billion on government that will be assigned to the future grandkids. If I have any grandchildren, they have to pay for it. So, again, it's just crazy that we have three equal branches of government, and one branch is running wild. I mean, absolutely running wild. And no one wants to stop them. No one. No one wants to stop them. And we have to vote. We have to vote them out. Democrats got to do a better job of messaging, because if we do a better job of messaging, then it will go a long way. Even though it looks scary. It looks scary, but it's not going to be. It's not going to be scary. It takes I guess it takes a village for everything to work. So this is my first Common Sense Party Pod for 2025. We've been out for a minute, so hopefully I can knock the rust off and get it done better next time. So again, this is a Common Sense Party Podcast. I'm your host, DOTTLEY. The Common Sense Party Podcast mission is to inform our listeners of topics that affect the everyday person. Rate, review, comment, follow, subscribe. Again, rate, review, comment, follow, subscribe. Tell a friend to rate, review, comment, follow, subscribe. We're available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Pandora, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, and Apple Podcasts. If you want to contact us, you can contact us at the Common Sense Party Pod at gmail.com, or we're available on Instagram, Facebook, Lemonade, Blue Sky, all social media except X. We're boycotting X just like everybody else. If you want to support, you can support via Cash App or Zelle. The information is available on the About screen of our podcast. This has been the Common Sense Party Pod for 2025, and we will see you next week.
This is Jesse Mock, an ex-motorcycle cop injured in the line of duty. Now a police troubleshooter. He's been recruited for a top-secret government mission to ride Street Hawk, an all-terrain attack motorcycle designed to fight urban crime, capable of incredible speeds up to 300 miles an hour, and immense firepower. Only one man, Federal Agent Norman Tuttle, knows Jesse Mock's true identity. The man, the machine, Street Hawk.